And welcome once again to another edition of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Happy Wednesday. I'm excited about the show. We have got a lot to cover. I've got a special guest. Later on in the show, it's a dear friend of mine, Michael Long Jr., the head coach of the Russell County Middle School football team and assistant baseball coach over at Russell County as well. But first and foremost, make sure that you're following me on the socials. You can like the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also catch episodes every Monday and Wednesday night, also on Apple and Spotify. And starting August the 7th, I'm going to 3 days a week. Sometimes there'll be an audio-only show on Fridays. But as we get ready for high school football season and football in general, because we got college football in the NFL, I definitely want to go 3 days a week because there's a lot of sports to cover. And I'm going to try to have guests on periodically. And I'm really excited about this show. So on this show, I'm going to preview week 1 in Alabama for the AHSAA. I'm also, as part of my NFL training camp, getting ready for the start of the NFL season. Every episode, I preview a division. On Monday, I previewed the NFC North. Today, I'm going to preview the AFC North. And then we'll have Michael Long Jr. on the show. First and foremost, we got the Columbus Cleanstones. They're going to be in action as they are taking on the Rocket City Trash Pandas at Synovus Park. This Saturday will be the 100-year anniversary of Golden Park, and they're giving away a replica stadium of Synovus Park. And there's so many fond memories of that ballpark. A lot of the memories are recent as 2023, really the last time they played baseball in Golden Park, before they renovated it and Synovus Park came into existence. Every time you go to Synovus Park, you have that feel of Golden Park, as they have the brick arches and the foundation is still there, and it still feels like Golden Park. And I had the privilege in the summer of 2023 to call baseball games for the Sun Belt Baseball League alongside Tom Callahan for the Columbus Chattahoochee and the Chattahoochee Monsters. And it's an experience I'll never forget. I'll never forget those road trips up to Gainesville and Brookhaven, and it was an incredible experience. And there's just a lot that I can remember about that season. It was a very special season for me, and that's one of my fondest memories of Golden Park. But the Cleanstones, if you want to catch a game, we've got another home series. They're taking on the Biloxi Shuckers next week. And there's a lot of promotional giveaways, including a Chuck Williams bobblehead giveaway. So that's pretty cool. Hey, next week, we've got Phoenix City Little League and American Little League out of Columbus in the Southeast Regional Tournament. Columbus is going to be taking on Lake Mary, or not Lake Mary. They're taking on another team. Lake Mary actually lost in the championship. Columbus, American Little League, taking on Florida at 1 o'clock. And then Alabama, Phoenix City is taking on North Carolina at 7. So if you are not doing anything, just make the trip down to Warner Robins. It's only an hour away to come support these two fascinating Little League teams. As I've lived in Columbus since 2014, I've heard about the history. I've heard about Phoenix City Little League and Northern Little League. In fact, this is the 20-year anniversary of that team that won the Little League World Series. The road to Williamsport starts next week. You can catch these games on ESPN+. And I'm hoping to have GPB sports anchor Matt Stewart on the show next week so we can talk about this incredible tournament and also talk a little high school football as well, because that is just around the corner. Speaking of high school football, on Monday, I previewed week 1 of the GHSA. Now I'm going to preview week 1 of the AHSAA. And we have fantastic matchups for you, starting things off on Thursday night. We're going to start with single A. We got Wadley, who's always been a powerhouse in single A. They've won a state championship. They're taking on Horseshoe Bend, which is a 2A school. That's going to be at Wadley. Some 2A games. We've got Childersburg. That is a 3A school. They are taking on BB Comer, which is a 2A school. We've also got, Elkmont taking on Tanner. Randolph School is at Pisgah. And then let's take a look at some 3A schools. We got Cordova taking on Oakman. And we've got Rehoboth on the road taking on Carroll. Rehoboth is a 5A school taking on a 4A school in Carroll. Hillcrest, they are taking on Greenville. That's going to be at Greenville. Let's take a look at some 5A schools as Parker and Vestavia Hills. Parker's a 5A school, one of the top 5A schools in Alabama. Vestavia Hills, now 6A. Remember, they did away with 7A, but they do have 8 classifications because you also have private A single, and you have private A, and then you have private 2A. So those are the extra classifications. Like Glenwood is in private 2A. They're actually in the same classification with McGill Tulane, which was a 6A school last year. That is crazy. And then St. Michael's Catholic, Montgomery Catholic, UMS Wright Prep, St. Paul's Episcopal. There are so many teams that they are loaded in 2A private. Single A private's got like Mars Hill Bible, Coosa Christian, those schools. Let's take a look. Hazel Green taking on Huffman. This is a 6A team taking on a 5A team. This is all on Thursday night. And then the big Thursday night matchup that I cannot wait for, because it is going to be probably the game of the year, Central Thompson. This is part of the AHSAA Kickoff Classic, as the Central Flag football team is taking on Montgomery Catholic at 4 o'clock at Garrett Harrison Stadium. This is going to be at 7 o'clock at Garrett Harrison Stadium on a Thursday night. And we got the rematch of the semifinal game last year where Thompson beat Central 35-34 to go on to win their 6th state championship in the last 7 years. The thing I love about this is the quarterback matchup. Trent Seaburn, the Alabama commit for Thompson. Bobby Coleman, the younger brother of Texas wide receiver Cam Coleman. He's going to have a phenomenal year as well. The quarterback play, especially in this game, is solid, and I cannot wait for this. This is also going to be the coaching debut of first-year coach for the Central Red Devils, Coach Cody Flournoy, who was the coach at Jackson that led them to a state championship, multiple state championships. But, yeah, this is going to be fun. I cannot wait for this matchup. Those are the Thursday night games. Let's take a look at the Friday night games for week 1 in the AHSAA. So we're going to start with 1A. Excel taking on Linden. Notasulga is taking on Central Haynesville. Lynette is taking on Lochapoka. Central Coosa taking on Fayetteville. And I can't get to all of them, but the ones that I know that are familiar, like in the Chattahoochee Valley, the Montgomery area, some of the, and really teams that I'm very familiar with, I'll go ahead and I will mention them. 2A, and I'm looking at 2A. You've got Ashford on the road taking on Houston County, which that's out of Dothan. Ashford, they are a 4A school. Houston County is a 2A school. Kingston taking on Zion Chapel. Choctaw is taking on Sumter Central. St. James is on the road taking on Dadeville. St. James is an independent single A team now. Remember, they used to be in 3A with Glenwood last year. Woodland taking on Randolph County up in Wadowee. I tell you what, and I saw an announcement that Wadowee, Randolph County, was looking for a play-by-play announcer. I know that I'm with Georgia Alabama Sports Live, but I thought, oh, cool. All right, let's take a look at some 3A schools. Bullitt County, they're going to be taking on Neal, and that's 2 3A schools. Let's say Lafayette is on the road taking on Beulah. And we got Laverne taking on Pike County. Oh, man, we got some fantastic matchups for week 1. How about Weaver taking on Walter Wellborn, Montevallo taking on Tarrant. Let's see, that's 3A. 4A, we've got Wetumpka, a 5A school that's on the road taking on Andalusia, which is a 4A school. We've got Long taking on Dale County. Montgomery Catholic on the road taking on Eufaula. We've got, Carver, Birmingham. They're on the road taking on Southside Selma. Reeltown, a 2A school, on the road taking on Beauregard, which is now a 4A school. Remember, they were a 5A school last year. They bumped everybody down. So Beauregard is a 5A school now. Shelby County on the road taking on Marbury. We got Park Crossing out of Montgomery taking on Woodlawn. Fife is on the road taking on Central of Clay up there in Lineville. Briarwood Christian is taking on Moody. Briarwood Christian is now independent 2A. So that's the classification they have according to this. Holtville is taking on Sylacauga. Brewer is taking on Priceville. Let's take a look at some of the 5A matchups as we've got Arab taking on Guntersville. That's a 5A school taking on a 4A school. Let's take a look. Carver Montgomery taking on Percy Julian. That's a big time matchup. A 6A school in Carver Montgomery taking on Percy Julian. The Battle of Montgomery. Going to play at the Cramden Bowl. I mean, that's a pretty safe bet that they'd be playing at the Cramden Bowl. Russell County hosting Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington is now a 3A school. They used to be a 4A school last year, taking on Russell County, which is now a 5A school. Pell City taking on Bessemer City. We've got Mountain Brook taking on Hueytown. Remember, Hueytown knocked off Russell County in the second round of the playoffs last year. We got Paul W. Bryant taking on Albertville. Deschler taking on Russellville. Bob Jones, 6A school on the road, taking on Hartselle. Let's take a look. Saraland, all the way down there in Mobile, taking on Mary Montgomery. Saraland is a powerhouse in 5A. Remember, they were the runners-up to Clay Chalkville in the 6A state championship last year. Taking on Mary Montgomery down there in Mobile. Theodore is taking on Davidson. Auburn hosting Hewitt Trussville at the Duck. That is going to be very interesting. Dothan at Rip Hughes Stadium. The Dothan Wolves hosting Bay out of Panama City. Enterprise is hosting Pike Road. And we've got Smith Station and Northside. We have got a border war at Smith Station. A 6A school taking on Northside. Also a 6A school, but out of the GHSA. And then we've got another border war as Clay Chalkville is hosting Creekside. Oh, man, sign me up for that. Other matchups, we got Jasper taking on Huntsville. Spain Park is taking on Sparkman. And that is about it as far as there's a lot of other matchups in Alabama for week one. And then also, I forgot to mention, we got Glenwood taking on Lee Scott. So that is another matchup that I wanted to make mention as that is also taking place week one because Glenwood and Lee Scott are no longer in the same region. Let's switch gears from high school football to the NFL. Yeah, we're not even going to college. We're skipping, going straight to the NFL. No, I'll have a college segment in future shows, but here's what we're going to do. Man, as I'm trying to get – oh, man. All right. Let me gather my thoughts. NFC North preview. I really think that this division doesn't have any Super Bowl contenders. Now, say what you want. Baltimore has been a Super Bowl contender. They went 8-9 last year. This division's got 3 brand new head coaches. Jesse Minter over at Baltimore. You got Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh, and you got Todd Monken over in Cleveland. Now, 3 of the 4 teams, they know who their starting quarterback's going to be. One team, the Cleveland Browns, don't know if it's going to be Shadur Sanders or Deshaun Watson. And that's going to be very interesting. It's going to make for the Cleveland Browns football season very interesting, especially since they traded away Myles Garrett. But let's start with the team that won the division, that made the playoffs last year in Mike Tomlin's final game as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers ended up winning on a missed field goal the final game of the regular season against the Baltimore Ravens to go to 10-7. And Mike Tomlin going out on top. He's never had a losing record. And Aaron Rodgers' first year, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And I still think that the Pittsburgh Steelers this year are going to be, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. They are, And look, I like Mike McCarthy as a coach. Aaron Rodgers, way past his prime. And that defense, they do pay a lot of money for that defense. But I think that they got two brand new receivers. Jeremy Bernard, the wide receiver from Alabama, he's projected to be a starter. I'm actually looking at the depth chart right now. DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be comfortable with these guys? Big O, Darnell Washington. He's the tight end from Georgia. He's going to be the starting tight end. Pat Freiermuth, also one of the top tight ends. They don't really have a running back. They did get Rico Dowell from the Carolina Panthers, and Jalen Warren, who's he's their feature back. The Steelers don't really have a running back, so I'm wondering, especially their offensive line is questionable. What's Aaron Rodgers going to do? And I'm interested to see what type of season Aaron Rodgers has. I don't know if they drop off drastically. I do think that Mike McCarthy is a decent enough coach to get them to 9-8, 10-7. But look, if you're a Steelers fan, I know you're a little optimistic, but with the AFC, with Patrick Mahomes coming back, and now you got Josh Allen, you know that the Baltimore Ravens are going to be much better than they were last year. Everybody has improved, including Cincinnati. So I think that this division is up for grabs, but I would not be surprised if the Steelers won it. But if they won it like at 10-7 or 9-8, I think that best case scenario, this is not a Super Bowl contender. That the Steelers could win a playoff game and get to the divisional round. They were humiliated last year by the Houston Texans. Why? Because the Houston Texans had a better defense. Even though the Pittsburgh Steelers has those guys like Cameron Hayward, T.J. Watt, Patrick Queen, they've added some guys in the secondary, including Jamal Dean, Jaquan Brisker. Jalen Ramsey is actually hurt, but I really like Joey Porter Jr. He plays like his dad. He's a cornerback, but Joey Porter Sr. was a linebacker. But, yeah, he plays like his dad, though. Don't get me wrong. I like the Steelers. I think that they are a team that could be entertaining to watch, and they stand for excellence. But the team behind them that finished 8-9 that decided to fire their coach and John Harbaugh, man, it took me 3 times to finally get his name right. John Harbaugh was a big mistake to fire John Harbaugh, and now Jesse Minter, who was the longtime defensive coordinator, under Jim Harbaugh, and he's been at Michigan with him. He was with the Chargers. So now we got Jesse Minter, and I'm not saying Jesse Minter is going to be a bad coach, because I do think that the Baltimore Ravens has talent, but Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator, Declan Doyle, I mean, they're not lighting the world on fire, and I think that losing Isaiah Likely to a free agency, they're going to miss him because he was a very up and coming tight end. A lot of defense, including, you have Trey Hendrickson that's come over in that trade from Cincinnati, and he's a little past his prime, but they've helped out, getting, some pieces, new offensive linemen, and Lamar Jackson, he's got an okay receiving core. Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, they're good, but they're not lighting the world on fire. I think that this is a year where the Baltimore Ravens do win more games than they won last year because they had a lot of injuries last year. I could see them winning this division, going 11-6, but they got too many holes to be a Super Bowl contender. This defense is not going to be the same defense that they once had. And I do believe that. I feel like they are going to miss several of the play. Todd Monken, not there anymore. It wasn't just John Harbaugh. Todd Monken leaving to now go be the coach for the Cleveland Browns. So the Baltimore Ravens might win this division 11-6. That's what I think. The team that you got, the one coach that he was on the hot seat last year. If the Bengals don't make the playoffs, Zach Taylor could be gone this year. The big question mark, can Joe Burrow play 17 games and be the best quarterback in this division? Joe Burrow has proven when he's healthy, He's a top 5 quarterback. He's beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. But the Cincinnati Bengals defense, trading away Trey Hendrickson, they did get some pieces, including Jonathan Allen and Dexter Lawrence and Brian Cook, but this defense has been their weakness. I know that they improved their offensive line after that Super Bowl run in 2022. They really needed to boost that offensive lineman. And then they paid a lot of money to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Joe Burrow has got weapons, but the running back position, Chase Brown, you got Samaje Perine. I'm not impressed by the running back by committee that the Cincinnati Bengals have. Zach Taylor is going to be on the hot seat. Hey, we got a familiar face. Al Golden, the defensive coordinator. Who knows? Maybe he might be the difference. I see the Bengals going 9-8, flirting with the playoffs, but not a Super Bowl team. They got too many holes, especially on defense. Getting rid of your best player on defense in Trey Hendrickson. And now on to the team that's probably the most dysfunctional, not just in this division, but in the entire NFL, the Cleveland Browns. And you thought that they were going to be bad this year. Well, they went 5-12 last year. They're playing a last place schedule. Yes, they could win some games, but they don't have Myles Garrett anymore. Getting Jared Verse, he's younger than Myles Garrett. He's not going to give you 20 sacks, but I think he's still going to be a double-digit sack guy. He's going to be a Pro Bowler, but you downgraded getting Jared Verse. You got rid of the best defensive player in all of football and put him on a Super Bowl team. This Browns team has got Todd Monken in as the head coach, and he's never been a head coach. He's always been a coordinator. So that is a big question mark. But is Shedeur Sanders, who, by the way, this is funny, he was a Pro Bowler last year, which, oh, man, unbelievable. I know that he does get a lot of praise. He also gets a lot of scrutiny. And he won the starting job because he deserved to be the starter in the beginning of the season. But the quarterback carousel, the circus they had with Dylan Gabriel, they had Joe Flacco, they had Deshaun Watson, who didn't play a single down. And now you have a crowded quarterback room with Shedeur Sanders. Deshaun Watson is listed as the backup, Dylan Gabriel. And then Taylor Green is a rookie coming in. I don't know if he's going to make the 53-man roster. But the offensive line has improved. You've got Spencer Fano, the overall number 1 pick. You've got Casey Concepcion, who's a talented wide receiver. Denzel Boston comes in the second round. Jerry Jeudy. And the Cleveland Browns have some pretty decent wide receivers. I noticed that Njoku's no longer on the team, so Harold Fanning Jr. is the tight end. And then, of course, you have Quincy Williams and Jared Verse coming over in trade and in free agency. This team, I think, I don't see them winning more than 5 games. They're not going to be very good. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Todd Monken's going to be a one-and-done coach. Give him time. But then Shedeur Sanders is not a franchise quarterback. You need to find a quarterback. Maybe in the 2027 NFL draft. But you know about the history of Cleveland quarterbacks, and they gave up on Baker Mayfield, which he was their most successful quarterback in the last 25 years, and they gave up on him. Shedeur Sanders is cheap because he was only a 5th rounder. And, may I remind everybody, Deshaun Watson was the worst trade in NFL history, but the Browns have to eat that contract and just go with it. So I don't know if Deshaun Watson plays. He's not vintage Deshaun Watson from when he was with the Houston Texans back in 2018 and 2019. So we'll see. It's early. Preseason starts on the 6th of August. I'm really looking forward to the NFL season as everybody is, at training camp right now. We are starting training camp. The teams are in pads. The rookies have already reported. We even have talks like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Vita Vea wants out. He wants to be traded. I mean, Baker Mayfield's contract dispute. Yeah, the Buccaneers are in a mess right now. But hey, I've already previewed the Buccaneers. So here's what we are going to do. Let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, Michael Long Jr., the coach of Russell County Middle School football, he's coming on the show. You don't want to go anywhere. It's a Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. How is everybody doing on this Wednesday? My next guest, he has been a longtime friend of mine. I've known this guy for about 4 years now. He started out as the Carver baseball coach, and his episode still is one of the most viewed episodes in Sports Beat history. And it's great catching up with him. And I'm so excited to bring on the show Michael Long Jr., the coach, a brand new coach of Russell County Middle School boys football team. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, we all know you as a baseball coach. You're the assistant baseball coach at Russell County at your alma mater. First of all, before we get into anything, did you play Little League in Phoenix City?
No, I didn't actually. I played in Smith Station actually. So that's where I played league baseball at, and then spent a couple years in Ladonia too, when their league was kind of getting off the ground a little bit. So I did not play in Phoenix City. I played against Phoenix City several times, but did not.
Gotcha. Play. Yeah, because a lot of players from Russell County playing in Phoenix City Little League, and they are represented in the Southeast Regional. And I think it's cool. We got a team from Columbus and we got a team from Phoenix City, but you could tell the baseball is huge in this area. You've seen it at Russell County. We know about the history of some great ball players like the Rasmus brothers. The coach right now, Danny Danielson, who's in the minor leagues in the Dodgers organization. Talk about that love for baseball at a young age and knowing that when your playing days were over that you wanted to be a coach.
I fell in love with the game so early. I mean, I I started playing when I was 3, and just every year I just wanted to be on the field. I just want to always be around the field, to be around the game. I wanted to go to Braves games when I was younger, and my family would take me and everything. So I always just wanted to be around the game. And then that passion to want to coach one day came about when I was in high school. Just playing the game and just seeing, the impact that coaches had on me, my father, and just what he did for me and how he instilled a lot of the things that I'm instilling into young players today. And just being around people that were very like-minded. And it made me want to get into coaching. So I actually started coaching baseball, or coaching sports in general, when I was still in high school before I went off to college. So it was just something it's been a passion of mine for several years, and it's gonna stay the passion until the end of time for me. So
absolutely, Coach. And one thing you also have passion for is sports in general. In 2023, you had the privilege of being my broadcast partner for several high school football games on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and we had so much chemistry, and it was a lot of fun. But I think your broadcasting days, especially with your coaching ability, now you're the middle school coach for Russell County. So I know you're going to be focused on coaching, but yeah, it was fun. But talk about this new gig. You are now the middle school football coach. You got a love for football, and it's important to have a feeder system like Russell County Middle School, especially with the success of the Russell County varsity team and what Coach Dylan Griggs has built in the last couple of years.
Yeah, fun fact. The first sport I ever coached was football. That was the first thing I ever coached.
Nice.
In high school with my father at Smith Station Little League. And so I helped them guys out a lot, just in different avenues. And I've always had the heart for football. Always had the heart. Might not have the size for it to go forward, and honestly, my passion was baseball, but football has never left my mind is that I love watching it on Saturdays and Sundays and also Fridays. I love being around it. So um, when the opportunity was presented to me to potentially become the head football coach at the middle school, it took some time to think about it. Talk with my wife, and we got a different dynamic now. We, having a 1 year old in the house. So after talking with her, and the deciding factor was, was going to take it, and I'm loving it, man. I'm loving to be in a different environment, which was something I felt like I needed a little bit. Just a different environment. Not saying that anything's wrong anywhere else. It's just something different. It gives you a different challenge, a different feel. Um, so the environment has been fun. The energy is good. We got a lot of good players, man. We're depth heavy in every position. So I'm very excited for the season to kick off. It will kick off in a few weeks, and I think where we're at. We feel like we're ahead of schedule with schemes and formations, and just the players buying into the process of what we want them to understand. Come game time. So I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, and I'm definitely excited for you too, Coach. And at Georgia Alabama Sports Live, we've called middle school championships for Calvary, Aaron Cohn, and Rothschild in the middle school championship. But this is a little bit different. You guys are not going to be able to play the likes of the private schools, but also the public schools in Muskogee County. I wish you guys could play Aaron Cohn. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
that'll be a good
But yeah, that'd be incredible. But you guys do play like Phoenix City and the intermediate school, the feeder system for Central, and then Smith Station. What are some other middle schools that you're going to face this season?
We'll play Beauregard. We'll play some teams out of the Tuskegee Montgomery area. We will also play Valley. We'll open up with Valley at Valley, and then we'll play Ben Russell. So that'll be a pretty good matchup there as well. So those are some of the teams that we play. We got 6 games on the schedule this year. The plan is to potentially increase that a little bit next year to probably 8, just to give the guys a couple more games. Not saying 6 is a bad number, but 8 will be a really good number. Plus, it's closer to what they'll be accustomed to in high school. Playing 10 games in the regular season, potentially playing another 3 to 4 games, depending on how far you can make it in the playoff run. So we want our program is a true feeder program. We want them to feel, what it feels like to be a part of a high intensity program before they even step into high school. That way, when they step into high school, they're not shell shocked by it. They're not intimidated by it. They're just sticking to the standard, and that's it.
Yeah, and absolutely. And Russell County does have a JV team
Yes.
and a varsity team. So talk about like when you're going to be playing games. Do you play at the main field at Corbett Stadium?
Yes, sir. We do. We'll play on Monday nights at 6. So we'll play right before the JV team plays. So we'll have the first game of the day on Monday nights. So we'll play at 6 o'clock. I think we got 3. We got 3 home games this year.
That is awesome. Talk about some of the members of your staff. Shout them out.
I truly feel like I have the best staff around here for the middle school. I'm not being biased when I say that. These guys, they go to work. I got Carlton Spivey, who is well known around the area and has helped produce a lot of name brand talent in this
Oh,
area.
no question.
Guys are the likes of Justin Ross, EJ Williams, those type of guys. He's had his hands on. His own son, Amante Spivey, went to Arkansas. He has his name on a lot of different guys around here. So he is also our offensive coordinator. And so he dials up all the plays. And I'm telling you, he is a gem to be around and just be able to pick his brain on a lot of different things. So and he's been on the staff. So with me taking on the position, he just basically welcomed me with open arms. And I can't even stop there. I got another guy, Coach Wilson, another guy that played at Central in high school, went off to play at the next level. He has also had his name on a lot of different guys in this area. He is our defensive coordinator. He has a good game plan in front of him. Him and Coach Anthony Bryant. who's new onto the staff as well. But he's also works with our linebackers and our overhang guys, and just kind of getting those guys in tune and things like that. He's coming over from Lochapoka, and he's also had a lot of success, played at Mississippi State. So if we have a lot of guys that are veterans of the game, but also they have a lot of knowledge from experience playing at the collegiate level. Then we have our last guy we have who we just added to the staff this year, a guy by the name of Jerome Walton. He's a great guy. I've known him for a while. And we really have a great staff. We have a great staff, and I'm excited to work with these guys, and I'm excited for us to have some success on the field this year.
Yeah, and also you being the middle school coach, you'll have time to kind of take a sneak peek at the varsity team, which had so much success in the last couple of years. I've known Coach Dylan Griggs since 2021. He has built a perennial now 5A school. They did away – Russell County is now in 5A. They did away with 7A. So Central, Auburn, Opelika, they're in 6A because now we have Class 1A private and Class 2A private. Class 2A private is where Glenwood's in. Still 8 classifications in the AHSAA, but the varsity team does open up against Booker T. Washington on August the 21st. The success that Coach Dylan Griggs has built up, making it to the second round of the playoffs in the last 2 years, hosting a home playoff game for the first time since 1998, but they did it back to back. Talk about how special Russell County is to have such a successful varsity program, and you got future varsity members on your middle school team as well. So it all just builds together as one big family there at Russell County.
I'm just gonna say this: Russell County is a special place to be right now, for a lot of different reasons. Touching on the football standpoint, what the program has been built on in the last several years is something that should be duplicated. Everybody should be trying to follow what we're doing with the program, as far as getting the right resources for the program, getting the right coaches in the room, making sure that everything that needs to be done is done. The new indoor facility, all right, that right there is a game changer. That is a game changer for player development. That's a game changer for just the overall aspect of when you come to Russell County and you put that RC on, you're a part of something that's bigger than you. And that's something that everybody around is starting to really see more of. You got to think about it. Everybody that's come before, whether it was a down year, whether it was a good year, whether it was in the between, those guys were the catalyst. All right. Now we're starting to see the fruits of the labor that has been there for years and years and years. You got an AD who's making sure that everything gets done. We have the best superintendent in the country. I tell anybody that Brendan Coley is a great person to be around. And we make everything that is going on with the program itself is because everyone is bought in. It's not just one person trying to get everybody to do everything. It's everybody is doing their part to make sure everything is ran right. And at that point, all you do is you need somebody that's going to lead the ship. And that's what Coach Griggs is doing. He's doing a phenomenal job with it. And I know that we've lost some guys in a Bryson Riggins and your Devin Browns and your Denver Harpers and guys like that. But you still have guys that were behind them, that were sharing reps with them, that were going one-on-one with them in practice, that are now they're the next man up. And so that's the mentality that's around here right now. The next man mentality. It doesn't matter who's on the field, we're gonna produce. So it's an exciting time to be a Warrior right now.
Well, I tell you what, one position that you have produced year after year after year, you got a talented 3-star running back, according to Rivals.com, Chris Lucas, who I believe he's only a junior. I mean, that's incredible that you got a running back like.
I taught him his freshman year, and I told him,
I did?
I said, man, you're gonna be something special. You just don't even know it yet. And that was his freshman year, and look what he did last year as a sophomore. And just I'm telling you, he's going to be the top running back in the state. I'll go ahead and tell you that he's going to be the top running back in the state. I got all the faith and confidence in him. And the thing is, we got another running back right behind him that can do the same
Oh yeah.
thing. So I'm not trying to say too much, but it's at the end of the day, man, it's an exciting time. And with us, being in the middle school, we get a chance to actually see their practices sometimes, depending on how our schedule goes. So I'm able to see these guys work. These guys are able to see those players play on the field. They see how high intense it is, and they love it. So, and then they want to embody that. They want to be that. So, as a new head middle school coach, it makes me feel good to see my players wanting to do that, and that means that our program and what we're trying to do is working, and what the varsity is doing, they're also being big brothers to that middle school. So when the middle school comes over, they're chatting with them, they're talking to them, and they're showing them different things. So they're it's a big family, man, and I'm telling you, it's an exciting time to be a Warrior.
Oh yeah, no question about it. And it's not just football, but all the programs at Russell County, and including flag football. Jada Flournoy, as an eighth grader, one of the top flag football players. Being at Georgia Alabama Sports Live, we were live streaming your baseball games. We did basketball, both the teams, the girls and the boys, making the playoffs. Wrestling has always been good, and I think that you mentioned it, Coach, that multiplex facility is a game changer. I was there last week doing a volleyball play date, and
Yeah.
the Russell County volleyball team is going to be good this year.
Yep.
We've got softball improving,
Yes.
and I think that Russell County has got top-notch facilities, whether it's Corbett Stadium, now the new multiplex. The basketball gym was renovated a couple years ago, and then your baseball field is state of the art. I was so impressed with the broadcast that we did, and hats off to Brad Beasley. He does a fantastic job with his broadcasting class.
Yes,
But you guys have some of the best facilities, and it really goes to people that truly care. The people at the top, like you mentioned, a Dr. Coley that truly cares. Larry Knox, a fantastic athletic director. And I give credit to everybody that's really put in their heart and soul into finding success for Russell County athletics.
And that's, I'm telling you, that's the reason why every program right now is finding some type of success, whether it's making the playoffs, whether it's making a run in the playoffs, whether it's getting right on the brink of getting into the playoffs and finding success of beating top-notch teams, and things like that. And they're trying to create depth, and they're trying to create a culture that, instills nothing but hard work. That's why you're starting to see that more and more, not just football or basketball. You're seeing it in softball, you're seeing it in baseball, you're seeing it in soccer. Our soccer program has made the playoffs the last few years. You got flag football. I'm telling you, the way they got the format this year for flag football with the transition of classifications, look out for that flag football team with the classification that they're in and the region. Look out for our flag football team.
Oh yeah.
Coach Thomas is going to have them right. They've been working out all summer. It's not something that you just pick up when school starts. It's something that is a day in, day out process. And that's what everybody's doing. Everybody's trusting the process right now in every sport. So I think as a whole, our athletic program is going to look really, really good this year.
All right, Coach. I do want to talk about just what's been going on in your life. I know we haven't caught up in years. It seems like every now and then I would text you just to see how you're doing. But you got married, you had a kid. I mean, I know that you're a family man now. What feels different now that you are a husband and a father, but still that passionate sports fan? I enjoy the conversations that I've had with you, but I just can't believe it's been 4 years since we've gotten to know each other, and you have definitely have grown and started this family. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, man. It's different, being a father. Is definitely a life-changing experience. It's a life-changing thing every single day. Everything is different every day. You see something new every day with my daughter, and but she's a bundle of joy, man. I enjoy being around her, and every second I get with her, I take it all in, man. I know I'm not at home all the time, and that does get a little tough sometimes too. But it's, one thing that I've tried to learn is you got to try to find a balance. And you also got to realize what you're doing these things for, who you're doing it for. I say all the time, I'm doing this for my girls. I'm doing this for my wife. I'm doing this for my daughter. The things that I do day in, day out, of, trying to impact, you know, young men and young women in school as far as who I teach and things like that. I want my daughter to see that. I want my daughter to, when she gets old enough, to see her dad trying to impact young people, because that's what I'm doing with her. And because I want her to be able to have those same similar values when she's old enough. I want her to be able to pass that stuff down. And honestly and truly, my family is very, it's top, is top level, man. My wife she's a very big supporter of what I do. Honestly and truly, I wouldn't have this new gig if it wasn't for my wife, saying, take it on, let's do this. I think it'll be good for you. Don't, we're gonna make sure we're gonna try to balance everything out. So, shout out to my wife, man, and my daughter, man. I love them so much, and that's honestly why I do what I do. And even before we even had children, this is something that I've always envisioned. So everything, I feel like you set everything up for when you try to, potentially start a family. So, even when I was at Carver and things like that, I had that on the back of my mind of, one day we're gonna have a family. So I got to be able to be in a position that's gonna be able to provide for that family. So, and then end up making it a move, back home to Russell County and things like that, and just being able to be closer to home. And that's the crazy part about it. I moved closer to home. Our house is 20 minutes from Russell County. All right. My wife works at Central. That's about 20 minutes the other way going to Central. So we're both close to home. And then we end up having a child. Like, we literally, like, I was at Russell County for a few months, and then she pops up pregnant. So, I mean, God makes no mistakes. And, I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed to be a father. I'm very blessed to be a husband. I'm very blessed to be an educator and a coach. I'm very blessed in just everything that I'm a part of right now. So, I have no complaints, man. Life is good. Again, I have no complaints, man.
Coach Long, talk about some of the influences in your life. Obviously, your dad, I thought it was really cool that your dad, Michael Long Sr.,
Yeah.
was an assistant coach on your staff at Carver, and you have a very close relationship with your dad. I always enjoy seeing your dad. He's always got a smile on his face. He was actually up when we called that game between Carver and Northside. He was up in the press box with us, and
He told me hey, by the way. He said if I didn't tell him, if I didn't tell you that he said hi, he was gonna get on to me. So I'm telling you that right here on air. So my dad wanted me to tell you, hey, man. But yeah, man, my one of my biggest influences is my father. He's the reason why I'm the coach who I am today. Because he instilled a lot of those principles into me, and how to do things and how to go about things, whether it's good or bad, and, how to manage and things like that. My mom as well. My mom was the biggest cheerleader I had when I was growing up. I always was the team mom, make sure everything was organized, maybe everything was paid for and things like that. Excuse me. Um, I got a lot of influences, man. My family is the biggest one. Everybody that I may mention right here is all family to me. Of course, my wife. I just mentioned, about her. She's a big, big, big influence on my life of who she is, and she keeps me well grounded and keeps me on my toes sometimes. But you need to be on your toes sometimes. I'm a firm believer. You never want to get stagnant. You never want to get complacent. You want to keep on your toes a little bit. So and then one of my big brother, John Lovett, who actually coaches at Shaw. You may know who I'm talking about right now. His son Jeremiah Lovett's going to
oh
Still.
yeah.
That's my big brother. I played travel ball for him, and he we talk all the time, man, and he's been in my life for a good portion of it, man, and he definitely has helped me in a lot of different ways that I don't even think he realizes he has. But he is a big, big contributor to my life. He's big, coming around with family events and things like that, and he's the first guy that I coached baseball with when I was in college, came home for the summer. He said, "Hey, Mike, I want you. You said you wanted to get into coaching. Come coach with me this summer, man." And we took that and ran with it. So a lot of these guys that you've seen sign baseball scholarships and things like that, I used to coach them back in the day. Jeremiah Lovett, Smoke Black, man, the Long Twins, of course, my cousin, things like that. So he helped me get that start with those guys, man. So I thank him for just bringing me along when it came to that, because I got a chance to see those guys grow, and now I'm seeing them go to college, and it's a surreal moment, man. But I'm proud of them. That's something that we've talked about even when they was young. Hey, this is gonna happen. They're gonna go to college. They're gonna go play ball, and so to really see it happen, man, it is definitely a blessing. So like I told you, man, life is good, man. I'm happy to see these guys that I've had a chance to mentor, do their thing now, and it's their time to go play at the next level. And I'm very thankful for all the big influences, and the list goes on and on. I could be on here for hours just naming people. So, but I know we ain't got all that time. So,
well, there's actually no time limit on this podcast, but I really appreciate you as not only as a coach, but as a dear friend. You talk about coaching in your family. Broadcasting is also in your family, because I didn't realize this, but you're also cousins with WTVM sports director Tony Reese. Talk about that relationship you have with Tony.
Man, that is, man, we may be related a certain way, but man, that is like my brother. I'm telling you, we talk every day.
Nice.
I mean, every single day we check in on each other. We got a good tight knit group of, small circle of brothers that we talk all the time, man. We check in on each other, because one thing that people don't realize is that mental health matters, and you never know that conversation that you're having with someone, it may be the thing that keeps them going, and I'm not saying that, anything, as serious as come about. It's just saying that when you talk to someone and you pour into someone, the more that you're pouring into someone, they're going to pour into someone else. They're going to pour into you. That helps you. It helps you a lot. So, but that's my guy, man. I love him more than anything. We're always there for each other. And I love what he's doing at WTVM. This is something that I told him years ago back in college. You're going to get this type of job, and it's going to happen. You just got to stay the course. And he did. And he's taken and ran with it, man. And he's done a phenomenal job. He's been able to experience a lot of different things. He's been able to cover several national championships. He's been able to cover the World Series before. And a lot of people can't say that, So I'm just very happy and excited for what's to come for him as well, man. So, like you said, man, a lot of different avenues is in my family, man. A lot of different avenues.
Well, Coach, I'm so grateful that you're able to take time out of your busy schedule to come on the show, and I'm hoping that I could get you back on, especially during college football season, because I know you're a big sports fan, and you could definitely talk college football, NFL, baseball with the best of them, because you definitely got broadcasting in your genes.
Hey, man, you never know. That might be my second act when all this coaching stuff's over with. You never know.
Absolutely. Coach Long, thank you so much for being a guest on the Sports Beat, and look forward to the next time we have a show.
Of course. And look, like you said, college football is right around the corner. I will be on, man, because I can't wait. I'm excited to see what some of these teams are going to look like. So, yeah, I'd love to be on. Let's talk ball.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Thank you to Coach Michael Long Jr. And we are signing off. Everybody have a great rest of your night, and we will see you next time. We'll be around. Take it easy, everybody.
See you.
Thank you for watching the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. You can catch new episodes on Facebook and YouTube every Monday and Wednesday night at 5 p.m. The Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge is a local podcast that covers sports in Columbus, Georgia.